for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, night, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, today's Wednesday, June 16th, 2021. "168 days into the new year. Only 197 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. A total undisclosed location. But it is beautiful. Unless you saw the mailbox, Chet. You like that? Find that mailbox. Find that mailbox. And by the way, it's black. It's a black mailbox. Find the black mailbox. Maybe. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world. All across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Let's do this. Got a great night tonight. Trey Hudson is here. And 3. 1, 2, 3. What's the 3? Inglorious Bastards. 3. First time guest this week. Man, I love first time guests. That's it. It's like my favorite thing to do. First time guest. So Trey Hudson is here. And we are going to be talking about, he wrote a book. It's called The Meadow Project, obviously, about the Meadow. So we're going to talk about that location. It's somewhere east of the Rocky Mountains and somewhere south of Lake Michigan. Yeah, that's where it's at. It's somewhere west of the Rockies, south of Lake Michigan. That's it. That's all you're going to find out. But we're going to talk about this location tonight. Everything is going down there. And Trey's background and how he got into this, it's just an extraordinary story. What a life's adventure, a hero's journey. So we're going to do all of that tonight with Trey. And then tomorrow night, the music is still playing in the background. No, it's not, Madeline. There is no music playing maybe in your background. Madeline, shake your head, Madeline. Shake your head. And she posted that 49 seconds ago. Madeline, it's supposed to be playing in the background. It's called radio. That's the intro music. I speak over the... Madeline, you've been listening to this show for how many years? And everything is exactly the same. What? The music is still playing in the background. Somebody help me, please. Help me. What am I going to do? Well, this is what we're going to do now. This is what we're going to do. Trey Hudson is here. So I've got some other things that I need to talk about. It was a very busy, very interesting day here in the bunker. And I am going to get to all of that. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Follow me right there at JChurchRadio. And hashtag F2B is the sandbox where everybody hangs out and breaks their own versions of breaking news. And, of course, we have Spreaker. We have the KGRA chat room. We've got YouTube. We've got Facebook and what's going on over there. And before I get to the breaking news, I posted earlier today, I introduced John Ferris to you Fadernauts in social media. He is a jeweler. He is an artist, an incredible guy, very, very warm soul, very cool dude, but very talented. And he's our newest sponsor here at Fade to Black, and I posted some pictures. And so I want to show you this. This is a piece of John's work that I now have. I'm holding this up to the camera, and you can see this. This is a pendant, right? Okay, this is a pendant, and it is crazy beautiful. That is ultra clear Brazil quartz that is in there. And when so that's one piece, right? Okay. And I know everybody saw Billy Carson's bling, and that's from John Ferris. And the piece that Billy had, I almost got that instead of Billy. I was in front of him, but I ended up choosing this. And it's incredible. And John had all of this stuff. And so it's all amazing, right? It's hard to, but that's, I went here. And then, but I got a second piece. And I want to show that to you now. You can go to John's website. All of the links are up. And we'll have it over at jimmychurchradio.com shortly. And then there is this. This is really cool. Bam. That's right. That's meteorite in there that crashed into Arizona, and it's only found, obviously, in Arizona. Look at that. And it's this, you just look at it's incredible. Look at that. That's a pendant. And wow. So, John, you can go and visit his website and check out his stuff and resonate with something. It's all right there. But John's going to be with us for a very long time. And welcome to the family, John. I hope you're listening. Welcome to the family. And again, check that out. Check that out. Right? Yeah. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's bling. That's the real deal stuff. And again, thank you, John. Welcome to the family. And everybody go and visit his website and look at his incredible stuff. It's absolutely world class. All right, let's get to the breaking news. I know you were following this, and I posted everything up earlier today because earlier today, the United States Navy and the FBI gave a classified briefing to members of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Subcommittee on Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation on Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. They did this in a sealed, compartmented, secure facility, and Lord knows what they were talking about in that room. There's some conversations from different members of the House as they exited, and I'm compiling that now, and I will get that to you tomorrow night. It's Fader night. More on Fader night tomorrow night. Relax, there's going to be a Fader night. All of this is ahead of this report from the Director of National Intelligence regarding the collection, reporting, and investigation of UAPs. And all of this is according to the office of the chairman of this subcommittee, Representative Andre Carson of Indiana. In a statement from Rep. Carson's office, Carson said, and I'm quoting, "The briefing was a significant and timely topic as there has been increased focus on the security threats posed by unidentified aerial phenomena," end quote. The office of the House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff's also released a press statement today, and this was before the classified briefing. Quote, "We want to know of anything that is flying in our airspace, and if there are things that we can't identify, we should put an effort into identifying them, wherever that may lead. Whatever it leads to, maybe a foreign adversary, to a different aerial phenomenon, to space debris, or anything else, we should follow the trail. We welcome today's briefing and the coming report as a step in that direction," end quote. And that was from Adam Schiff's office. Incredible day. Lots of things are being said. My phone was ringing all day today. I'll discuss that in just a bit. China will be sending the first astronauts to its self-developed space station sometime during the show tonight. The Shenzhou 12 spacecraft carrying 3 astronauts will be launched atop a Long March 2F rocket from the Jinquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. It is China's first manned mission since 2016, and the first time astronauts will go to the country's new space station, which is still in development. You remember what dropped out of the sky last month that took stuff up, and the main module up into space, so that's where they're going. NASA's Space Launch System is now lifting off from the cereal aisle. That's right, at a grocery store near you. The Artemis program rocket, which the U.S. Space Agency is assembling to send astronauts back to the lunar surface, is now sharing space. That's right, with those little marshmallow puffs and Lucky Charms right there on the front of those cereal boxes. So, and it says, limited edition galactic Lucky Charms are racing into space with NASA's Artemis 1 for an out-of-this-world adventure. Lucky Charms Twitter sent that out and announced it earlier today. I was hoping for some little rocket marshmallows. You know, that's what I wanted, some little Artemis marshmallows, but it's just printed on the box. But it's still pretty cool. All right, also released today, the Debswana Diamond Company, a unit of De Beers, unearthed, are you ready for this? A 1,098 carat stone, a diamond in Botswana. They did this back on June 1st, the largest since the company began operations 5 decades ago. Preliminary analysis suggests that the stone is the world's third largest gem quality diamond ever, after the Cullinan diamond that was discovered in South Africa in 1905 and the Lesedi down in Botswana back in 2015. Botswana accounts for more than 2/3 of De Beers' output. You're right. Now think about this. How much money does De Beers make in a year? Right? Controlling the world diamond trade. How much do they make? How much does Botswana get from that? I read today it was only $2 billion. Something in that, it doesn't feel right to me. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. I just mentioned it, Inglourious Bastards 3. You remember the scene? 3. Daniel Bruhl today is 43, and he played Frederick Zoller in Inglourious Bastards. That's right. He was the dude, the Nazi featured in the film when they shot up Hitler's face in the end. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Tom Bones Malone of the Blues Brothers today, 74 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is, you know this is coming, Tupac Shakur. 1971 to 1996, died at the age of 25. Tupac is widely considered to be one of the most influential rappers of all time. Well, we all know what happened. On September 7th, 1996, at about 11:15 p.m. at a stoplight on the Strip in Las Vegas, a white 4-door late model Cadillac pulled up to the passenger side of the BMW that Suge Knight and Tupac were in, and an occupant of the Cadillac rapidly fired into the car. Shakur was struck four times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest. On the afternoon of September 13th, Tupac died from internal bleeding. Happy birthday, Tupac. On this day in history, 1963, Soviet cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova becomes the first woman in space. Fate or fact, in 1986. Man, I love this. Man, this is a great story. It's a great documentary. You should make a TV series out of this. In 1986, Cliff Stoll, an astronomer, trying to trace a 75-cent computer time discrepancy for 10 months at Lawrence Livermore Labs, eventually found who was at fault. It was a German hacker in Germany who hacked into the systems here in the United States and was selling state secrets, nuclear secrets, to the KGB. It's a great story, and Cliff is a cool dude. Just an astronomer. Just got his gig, PhD. He's just hanging out at Lawrence Livermore. He gets tasked, 75 cents is off every single month. Go figure this out. That's all it was. 10 months later, nuclear secrets. The CIA's involved, the NSA's involved, the FBI's involved, the military's involved. It was crazy. It was crazy. But they caught him, and it was a whole team of hackers over there in Germany. Tonight, very special guest, Trey Hudson is here. We're discussing the Meadow Project. Three first-time guests this week. Oh, man, what a great week. Trey's amazing, and he's going to be with us at the bottom of the hour. Right now, it's time for me to hit this River Moon coffee because I got something to say. RiverMoonWellness.com. Fade to Black blend. Visit our Amazon store, too, as well. All the links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Look at this bling, man. Look at that. You're going to see me. I'm going to be out at a conference. I'm going to be out doing something. And it's going to be right here. Oh, I got a chain on. I should put this chain. Oh, during the break. I'm going to see if I can rig that. John Ferris. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. All right. It was a crazy day today. Lucky Charms Frosted Flakes. Are those good? Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms? I need a report back on this, Nelson. I need to find out because the original Lucky Charms, that's tough to beat. In the world of cereals, Lucky Charms is up the, the king of the hill, right? Captain Crunch. Regular straight Captain Crunch, the red box, the one that we know, top of the Captain Crunch peanut butter crunch, right? Lucky Charms is right there. You can't mess with that formula, man. But maybe Lucky Charms Frosted Flakes, that could work. I need a report back. I want to know who has had Lucky Charms Frosted Flakes. Purple box. Yeah, all right. I remember that. I remember when we did that like 7 years ago. Somehow on Fader night, we started talking about breakfast cereals and the phone calls. That was a fun night. And I swore that I'd never do it again. This is supposed to be a show with integrity and knowledge and intelligence. And we're talking about breakfast cereals for 3 hours. That was a good night. All right. The magic, lightning only strikes, you can't do the breakfast cereal conversation again. It happened then. We went through the art of the breakfast cereal. How you do it, when you do it, why you do it. We can't visit that again. It was magical, though. It was Lucky Charms. Okay. Today, I spent the day on the phone. All day. I was speaking with different individuals throughout the community and beyond and in the media that were calling me to discuss what is going on right now. And yes, the breaking news was happening and I was popping that out, and there was 2 or 3 stories that broke today. And it was pretty amazing to hear the concern in their voices. Excitement, a little panicky, right? Searching for answers. And a couple of media networks called me today, both major news networks. And now I'm not going to get into the details of that. I can't and I won't, and it's not me, it's not my story. So I'm not going to do that. But they were calling me for answers, not for an interview. They were just asking a couple questions. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. Now, it started with 2 separate phone calls and a few follow-up texts, that came in after that. It was really funny because I said, and I quote, yes, I have your answer. I do. And you know that I have your answer, but I'm not going to give it to you. Not going to do it because you're going to probably publish it. Of course you will. And those out there that gave me the info will know exactly where it came from, and I don't want to be the leak in the boat. And I said this today to not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, 7, 8 people. 8 people. Yeah, a couple of news organizations. And one of, there was a third news organization, big one, that called me for something else. He just needed some stuff. And that was the BBC. They interviewed me last week, and they needed a couple of details. So you can even add them to all of this. It was pretty nuts, but I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to sit on this. In the follow-up text where something, Jimmy, we don't have to use your name. And I'm like, yeah, right, of course you don't. And don't. It doesn't matter. They're going to know the source. I'm not going to be the guy. I'm just not going to be the guy. Now, I'm not saying any of this because it sounds cool. And yeah, it is pretty cool. But that's not the reason why I'm saying it. I'm talking about it now with you because UFOs and UAPs are the subject right now. The conversation that I had with the media today was virtually the same conversation I had with everybody else today, word for word. And in the middle of all of this, I got the phone call, more info, more direct info, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, holy crap. But I got to sit on it. I have to. And there's reasons for that. Right? I could be the guy. I could just go and post, and then you don't know if it's real. You don't. The stuff that I have been told had better play out exactly as I have it. Because if it doesn't, then I know I've been played. And I'm not going to publish it and have it be incorrect because then I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. Right now, I don't think I've been played. I don't. But this is the UFO game. It's the UFO game. And right now, things are very, very intense. Trust me. And I see all of the moving pieces. We all do. We see what is going on. What a crazy day for UFOs and UAPs. Wow. Just crazy. 3 big breaking stories today. It was like the before, the during, and the after. And then we have everything that Lou had just said to the Washington Examiner. Right? Now that I'll get into that more tomorrow night. And then we have that. Everybody is making predictions. That's right. They're all guessing. What's really going to happen? Well, I don't know, but there are people listening to me right now, and they know who they are. They know that I know that they know, right? And in the end, well, somebody better be right. And when that happens, I'll know who to trust. And so will you. Because I'll tell you. I will. This all confirmed. I'll know exactly where to go. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to sing like a bird. There can only be one winner in this high-stakes poker game, okay? And I'm playing with a table of individuals that are feeding information, right? Right? There's going to be one winner. There's going to be a table full of losers. Yep. Squinty eyes, man. Squinty eyes. It's going to be very interesting over the next 8 days. Oh, I just said it. Next 8 days. Trust me. I know. This time around, I know. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if everybody was wrong? Yeah. And it's a different scenario that plays out. What do we do with that? Seriously. These are great days, man. These are great days. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I got to do this again. I've been looking at this all day. John Ferris. John Ferris. Go visit his website. I posted the links up in social media. It's over on Facebook. It's up in Twitter. But that guy is amazing. So humble. So humble. Look at that. That's incredible. John Ferris. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Trey Hudson is here. Talking about the Meadow Project. His book is out. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can head straight over there. When we come back off of the break and I get John in, something interesting happened today between John and I during sound check. He's expecting to talk about the Meadow Project, but I'm going to hit him with a little guitar talk. We'll do all of that after the break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on jimmychurchradio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Trey Hudson is here. Tomorrow night, 3. First-time guest this week. Incredible. I love it. Tomorrow night is Fader night. Open lines all night long. And yes, I think we've got a very special guest that's going to come in tomorrow night just for 20 minutes. That's all we could get arranged. And you'll find out why tomorrow night. So stand by for that. I'll make the announcement tomorrow. Buckle up, kids. It's going to be very interesting. But tonight, it's Trey Hudson. Met Trey last week. Got to hang out with him for 5, 6, 7 days in a row. And he's here tonight with the honors of being our third first-time guest this week. And we're covering the Meadow, which has been compared to Skinwalker Ranch itself with its own reports of UFOs and cryptids and missing time and portals and crop circle formations and Men in Black, or everything is going on at the Meadow. And I don't know how we're going to have the time to get it all in tonight, but he is the director of Oxford Paranormal Society and its Anomalous Studies and Observation Group, otherwise known as the ASOG. He's an Eagle Scout and a former Army intelligence officer. He has a psychology degree from the University of West Georgia. Right there, warning flags, Trey. The warning flags are up right there. And he studied under the likes of Dr. Bill Roll and other luminaries. He has a 30-plus year career as a U.S. government security specialist, specializing in security of sensitive assets, anti-terrorism security of WMD, emergency management, and other specialties. He also served a tour in Afghanistan in this capacity. He's also the author of The Meadow Project, Exploration into the South's Skinwalker Ranch. The links for the book are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And now I would like to welcome to Fade to Black, Trey Hudson. Trey, good evening, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. You make me sound a whole lot more interesting than I am.
Wait a minute. Psychology degree, intelligence officer, security clearances. You're the man. You're exactly what I'm afraid of. So, yeah, there you go. Okay, before we get started tonight, Trey, you get the first-time guest disclaimer. So let's get that out of the way, which is this. It's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. There you go. Are you ready?
Groovy.
Me throwing it at an intelligence security officer, man. I'm the stress level, so. But this is, I told everybody before the break, something very interesting happened. And we're going to spend just a little bit of time on this, but So we jump on to do a sound check earlier, and you see the bunker, and you're like, whoa, hold on, church, check this out. And you turn around and you whip out a Strat, you whip out another Strat, and you're a player. And my response to you, Trey, was, I knew you was cool. I knew it. But that was all right, man. That was a nice surprise for me.
Well, albeit a very poor player, but at least I give it a go.
Man, you got. And then Trey goes, hey, man, have you seen the new Alex Lifeson Les Paul? I'm like, oh, Trey knows what he's talking about. Very cool, very cool. Let's see who gets the Alex Lifeson Les Paul first, if it's going to be you or myself. But, yeah, that's a very sweet-looking guitar. I'm with you on that. Now, I'm looking. The audience can't see you, but I can. And I'm looking. You look like you're in a cabin. Am I guessing right?
Yeah, actually, I have a small guest cottage on my property, which was a prefab building that I finished the interior of, and it's kind of, who wants a man cave when you can have a man cabin?
Yeah, man, that looks sweet, man. It just looks sweet. And you've got a second floor, or are you in the basement?
It has a second floor.
Right? Yeah, that's
by
32
floor.
Yeah, it's that is just too cool, and it's got Strats in there. Now, how close are you to the property?
The property I own, I'm sitting on it right now. No, I'm kidding. I know what you're referring to. I live in the America's Southland.
Right.
And the Meadow is also in America's Southland. So that's about all I'm going to go into. It's within driving distance for me. I don't have to, jump in my private, secret ASOG Learjet and fly over there or anything. It's within driving distance. But, it's in the general American southern region.
Right.
Right.
And well, what I said earlier to everybody, it's west of the Rockies, south of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And let's just stay right there. And the reason for this, and I know that everybody wants to know, we're going to talk about what's going on up at the Meadow all night tonight. But the reason to keep this on the down low right now is that you've got ongoing research there, and you don't need a couple of hundred people interfering with what's going on because they want to go and see orbs.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm just going to throw this out there as an apology, like I did at the conference last week, is, I'm not doing this to be obtuse or mean or cruel or, taunt people with the esoteric knowledge that this is out there somewhere. We're doing serious research. And in the process of doing this research, we need this area to be as inviolate and as pristine as possible. And unfortunately, I had a very bad experience out in the Uwharrie National Forest in an area that had been compromised by one of the Bigfoot shows. And we came in Friday night. It was, somewhat deserted, set up our camp. And literally the next day when we woke up, there were 50 tents around us. So we attempted to do research at a Yates place there in the Uwharrie National Forest. And every time we would hear a twig snap, a grunt, a groan, any kind of sound, any kind of movement, we didn't know if it was a Sasquatch, a drunken hillbilly, somebody from the campsite next door, and it just basically made all research superfluous. So keeping that in mind, I made a very hard decision to kind of obscure the location of the Meadow in the book. I changed names and locations and kind of mixed things around. And I've made a decision not to discuss exactly where it's at or even where it is generally. Now, that's upset some people. So be it. It's, it's big boy rules. That's the game we play in. And I just, hope your listeners understand that was a hard decision and not one made lightly.
Right. So Trey comes up to me and hands me the top secret red folder at the conference. He said, for your eyes only. And I said, okay, cool. Open it up, and I got the latitude. I'm looking at the numbers, looking at the satellite photography. I now know where it is. And then Trey turned around to say hi to somebody, and I snapped 2 pictures. So I'm just letting you know, Trey. Trey, I've got it. I've compromised.
Actually, I made some phone calls, and I've got the pictures you snapped pulled up on my computer right now.
I bet you do. Now,
do you hear the knocking?
I do.
On your door?
I heard it. I actually did hear that. And here's the deal. Let's back up a little bit, if we can. I want to talk about your roles in security, how all of that applies to your research today, because it does. But let's back up before that. Were you interested in the paranormal before you got in the service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. Great question. I was a child of the 70s, and there was a wonderful TV show on back in the 70s called In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. You might remember it.
I do.
And they would go over all kinds of strange topics, missing persons, spontaneous human combustion, Sasquatch, UFOs. And for a young kid in the 70s, that's like gold. That's like that's like nectar. And I was like some sort of weird little maladaptive sponge soaking all this stuff up in my little, partially formed brain.
Right.
And so it came naturally. My father also traveled a lot. He was a traveling contractor, and he heard a radio interview late one night as he was moving from one place to another. And it was the wonderful Brad Steiger, and he was talking about his book, The Gods of Aquarius. So my dad bought the book, The Gods of Aquarius, which I've since obtained an autographed copy. And so I read that book, and I just became very intrigued by this stuff. And, as I, got older, I continued to read about it, and I was interested in it. And I attended a university, as you said earlier, at the University of West Georgia, which has a humanistic and transpersonal focus in their psychology program, which is very experiential. We had Bill Roll, the famous parapsychologist, was on faculty there. So, it's just a natural extension of what I'm doing now that goes, all the way back to my formative years back in the 70s.
Didn't Bill push for a parapsych degree? Right? Wasn't he? Didn't he try to get that to go through, but wasn't quite successful?
Yeah, as far as the parapsychology program, when I was there, was not really developed. They are offering it now. I could be completely wrong. I haven't been back there in a while. I think they offer a few parapsychology departments, but as far as I know, it's still a general psychology degree and not an actual parapsychology degree.
Right. And he pushed for that for a long time. I don't think that's offered anywhere in the country now. There were a couple of universities that stepped up and did that, but they no longer offer that degree. But you were there with Bill Roll, and that's pretty cool. And that's somebody with an open mind. And if you've got an open mind, you're able to ask questions and explore things that aren't supposed to be happening in this world, right?
Right. Not only are they not supposed to be explored, sometimes you're not even supposed to ask the questions.
And so now, when you take all of that and you go into the military, which is now, I'm a military brat, so I totally understand the rigidity, right? The rules, the orders, and you have to go through that, and that isn't a paranormal world necessarily, is it? And how did you go from, the parapsychology aspect of the world into the rigidity of the military?
Well, I was branched military intelligence, and if you recall back at that time, U.S. Army INSCOM, Intelligence and Security Command, was involved in some very interesting things under the leadership of Bert Stubblebine. And I don't know if you've seen the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats. You've probably heard of Project Stargate or Grill Flame, Stanford Research Institute. All of this stuff was done under the auspice of Department of Defense. So I was kind of hoping I would be able to vector into that part of Army intelligence, and unfortunately I didn't. I ended up in a counterintelligence unit, and so I was thinking that was going to be a pretty good fit, but I was never able to get quite into that like I had hoped. Now, since then, I have been trained in remote viewing, but it was purely civilian, had nothing to do with Department of Defense.
Did you ever feel like when you're in that type of security for the military, where you're dealing with, seriously sensitive assets and and of course WMDs, and we're talking about another world of security. You're not arresting drunken sailors at a local bar. It's a whole nother level of security. Did you ever feel 007-ish, right? Did you ever feel secret agent-ish?
No, not really. My job primarily is I spent a few years in the military and was injured. I'm a disabled veteran now, and I moved into federal service working for Department of Defense. And in the security and intelligence world, there's two tracks. There's the INT track and the SEC track. SEC-INT sounds like some sort of kinky porn movie with J.R. Tolkien's and trees getting it on with each other, INT-SECs. But no, actually, INT are the intelligence disciplines, communications intelligence, electronic intelligence, human intelligence. And then the SEC are the security disciplines, which are kind of the opposite side of the same coin: operation security, communication security, information security, and these kind of things. So I've been primarily involved in the security side of things, trying to keep, naughty people from doing naughty things to our assets.
But you still look like a Fed. And I was look. I remember at the conference, and I'm watching you approach me, and you carry yourself really well. Well, first off, how tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, you're 6'4", and you look like a Fed. You play the role. And I was looking at some of your images, in Afghanistan and things. And you were doing your job. You're playing the game, and the other part is, after all of this is done, and you come out of the military and you finish your Department of Defense work. How do you apply that to Bigfoot? Right? How do you apply? Right? How do you? And I know it sounds strange, but it's almost a perfect fit, I would think.
Well, it makes sense. One thing that I learned, especially being trained as an intel officer, is to be analytic. You take your information, you take your data. You have a piece of data. Then you try to corroborate it with another piece of data, hopefully from another source or using a different discipline. So you start taking all this data together, you process it, you put it into some sort of manageable product, and then you disseminate the data. And it's a process. It never ends. It's a cyclic type of deal. So you're continuously pulling data in, changing your assessments, putting information out, bringing information in. And so I've taken that kind of philosophy, and I've also taken some of my experience in report writing, investigating, things like that, and applied it to what we do out there. Our process, I'm not going to say it's militaristic the way we go about things, but we do have a structure. We have a command and control structure. We know who's in charge. Everybody knows what their job is when they're out there. They know how to communicate with one another. And not that we're trying to emulate the military, but quite frankly, it's a system that works. And more importantly, it's a system that works during crisis and stress. So it's all dovetails very nicely. It's a very good question. You're spot on.
Now, how does your day start? I want to talk about the Meadow specifically before we get to the break. Do you just get up in the morning, check your email, and then hop in the car, and then you're over there for 10, 12, 16 hours? Because I imagine that the research is like 24 hours. It has to go on all day because you have stuff that's happening at night, and then you have the stuff that you have to do during the day, and there's probably things going on during the day as well.
Yeah, what we do is we will determine a weekend or 2 days or 3 days, and we will show up at an area adjacent to the site where we will set up a base camp, a base of operations. Usually some of us will get there early, like on a Friday morning, set things up, set up our radios, our radio antennas so we can communicate. And as a team starts filtering in, everybody gets set up, and we usually have a briefing about 6 o'clock in the evening on what the evening's activities will be. And the reason we do most of our investigating in the evening is because we've had orbs, luminescent orbs, which are easier to see at night. And also when the ambient temperature drops it makes it a lot easier for our FLIR, our thermal equipment, to operate. So we have a plan of attack, a plan of action at night. We'll go out, do our investigations after everybody being briefed, and then when we come back, just as important as the pre-brief is the after-action review, where we actually will all discuss what we saw. We will videotape it. We will capture this data while it's fresh on our mind. And like I talked about, the process where you're pulling data in and making decisions based on what happens during each investigation helps drive any subsequent investigations. So that basically goes on for 2 or 3 days until, the rest of us have to go back to our real life, work, blah. And so that's basically how one of our expeditions goes.
Now, how did you find out about the Meadow?
One thing that I've found, I'm primarily a paranormal investigator. That's what I started with, is follow the folklore. These places usually don't exist in a vacuum. They don't exist in a cultural vacuum, a social vacuum, or a historical vacuum. You can track these things back and find out kind of where the weird places are, and going back and using an intelligence geek analogy is I'm old school. I was a Cold Warrior. Back when we didn't have cell phones and laptops and stuff like that, we had pieces of plastic called acetate, big plastic sheets we would put over a map. And we would mark enemy positions and avenues of approach and our positions and all of that kind of stuff. So imagine a geographical location. It could be anywhere. You go and you start digging up records, digging up data, and over one acetate, we'll call acetate sheet A, you put a brown dot for everywhere there's been a Bigfoot or cryptid sighting. So you've got a whole bunch of dots on this piece of acetate. Take that off, put it away, put up acetate sheet B. On that sheet, you will put a blue dot for UFO sightings or UAP sightings. And then take that away, put up acetate sheet C, and put yellow dots for ghost or paranormal happenings. And when you're done with that, put all 3 sheets on top of one another on top of your map. And you'll start to see a correlation. There are certain spots where you see concentrations of all 3 phenomenologies. That's where you look. And that is exactly how we discovered this area, is we started picking up on folklore of a haunted road. And I started looking into this so-called haunted road as one of these places where, the locals say, don't be seen down there at night. Them haints will get you, And that's like waving a red flag in front of me, Don't go there. Well, yeah, that's exactly where I'm going because I'm, that guy. And when I started peeling back the onion, peeling back the various layers of this area, this region, I started finding just, many, many instances of weirdness. And I'm not just talking about paranormal. I'm talking about, UFOs, Bigfoot, everything in between. So that allowed us to focus our efforts on a particular area. And we found a meadow near an area we were investigating, and we focused on that meadow primarily because of accessibility. It was about a quarter mile from a pretty nice base campsite. It was wide open, that we could see what was going on in there at night with night vision and thermal. It was clear. If anything moved across the meadow, it would leave a track or marks. And also it had a ridge adjacent to it that we could put somebody up on top of that ridge that could look down into it. So it was, just kind of dumb luck that we picked this place to focus some of our investigative efforts at, and it yielded tremendous dividends.
Now, I did see one of your, albeit privately, but one of your maps, I'm not going to mention any names or anything. I'm not going to do that to you, Trey, but of different events around, and it was crazy to me to see that much activity of that type right there. I mean, it's not coincidence anymore. I mean, you can take that part off of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's coincidence. And I think if you start looking at, known areas of high strangeness, be they Sedona or Mesa Verde or, Skinwalker Ranch, wherever, and you start taking that same focus on those phenomenologies and you start looking elsewhere, I think these spots are located all over the world. And, who knows, your listeners might have one in their backyard or in their neighborhood, and all they have to do is go out there and start putting the puzzle pieces together themselves.
Yeah, surely. And I asked James Keenan, he was on with us on Monday, but this question. But I asked everybody at the conference too during the panel. But I want to ask you this question again for the audience, and I'm looking at the clock here. We got about 3 minutes. The overarching vibe that has been presented about Skinwalker has been negative and dark. There's no question about it. I mean, it's just negative and dark and scary. Is it the same vibe that you get? What do you get from the Meadow?
Most of the time, it's very peaceful. It's very calm, very pristine, very serene, very bucolic. Just a beautiful mountain meadow. Every once in a while, we'll have something, will happen, or we'll detect something, with our equipment, and you get a feeling of unease. To use a common term, you get the willies. But most of the time, it's a very peaceful, calm place. But that doesn't mean weird things don't happen there and unnerving things don't happen there. But it doesn't give off a negative or oppressive vibe at all.
And what about that haunted road? How close was the haunted road to the Meadow?
It was actually about 20 miles.
Oh, it's 20 miles away.
Yeah, the road actually became kind of a non-player. What really focuses on the Meadow, or that particular spot of this nature preserve, was an amazing UFO experience one of my team members had while we were out investigating the haunted road. And it was just so amazing. It's like, well, screw that haunted road business. This is where the action's at.
And we're going to talk about that when we come back. There's one other thing, though, about the Meadow, to me, is that there is tree lines, right? You don't know what's going on in those trees. You don't know what's watching you. You don't. Yep. Does that ever come into play for you?
Well, you have to be confident in your abilities, confident in the abilities of your team, and confident in the knowledge that they'll look out for you. We've got each other's back.
Do you ever feel that you're being watched? Bigfoot in the tree line.
Yeah, sometimes I get a feeling that something's watching us or is aware of our presence. Yeah, once in a while.
No kidding. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Trey Hudson, and we're talking about the Meadow and his book, The Meadow Project, Explorations into the South's Skinwalker Ranch. The link is available right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Trey Hudson is the guest on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Trey Hudson is here, our first-time guest this week on the show. Love it when it happens. Talking about the Meadow, and his book, The Meadow Project, is available over at jimmychurchradio.com. Just click right there, and you can check that out. And right before the break, Trey, you mentioned, you're down, you're looking at the haunted roads, you're in the area, but one of your team members had a UFO thing happen, and was this directly at the Meadow?
It was about a quarter of a mile from the Meadow.
Oh, that's close enough. A quarter mile.
Yeah. I mean, so, for all intents and purposes, it was, at the Meadow. So we were off, at the haunted road, and we're thinking maybe this was, Bigfoot or something. And we were skunked, nothing happened. We had the long drive back. We were able to radio back to base camp, hitting a local repeater. And our base camp operator, Bob, who was at the conference with us last week, said, you're going to be really amazed at what happened to me while y'all were gone. So we get back, and Bob tells us this amazing story, this amazing recollection of a UAP sighting. While he was minding base camp, he had been drinking a lot of copious amounts of coffee and beverages, And, like happens, when guys are out in the woods, they have to get rid of that, that extra volume somehow. So he had stepped back behind the base camp to take care of that. And it was a cold winter, drizzly, icky night, in America's Southland. Just, one of those evenings where the cold just burrows its way into your very soul. And as he was standing there taking care of business, got done, he was looking around, looking at the evening, and he saw a bolt of lightning come down. Now, the odd thing was this lightning had no sound. It was just a beam of light. And he thought, oh my goodness, there's a storm brewing. I just saw lightning. That was what was going through his mind. And then right after this beam of light, he noticed that the moon appeared. A large, round, luminous orb. And his thoughts quickly changed gears to his extraordinary meteorological good luck. The clouds are clearing. The rain is going to leave. We're not going to be drenched all weekend. So he's sitting there congratulating himself about how lucky he was that the weather changed. And then the moon starts to move from the right to the left horizontally. Now, I don't know about your neck of the woods, Jimmy, but in my neck of the woods, the moon doesn't move sideways.
It's Southern California. Everything happens here, right? But yeah, right. That's crazy town.
Yeah, it moved and it stopped. It moved laterally and then it stopped. And he said there was a small pinpoint of blackness right in the middle of this orb. And this black dot started growing, like the iris of a camera. It got larger and larger and larger until all he was left with was a ring of fire effect like you see with an eclipse. And then it completely winked out. So, when he explained this sighting to us, which I'd mentioned earlier when I was researching this general area,
right?
There were quite a few UFO sightings. I thought, okay, this area is somewhere that we need to continue to observe. And I mentioned that the particular meadow or field that we were looking at, you can also sky watch there. It's a field. You have a big sky there. So it was the perfect place for us to continue our research and investigations.
Now, ultimately, what did it's a great sighting. What did he think that he saw? Did it feel ET-ish to him?
About all that he could say is just repeat what he saw. Now, as far as putting any kind of reason on it, it was a UAP, an unexplained aerial phenomena, like many others. Now, he did have missing time later on during later investigations, the same gentleman. But, all we had at that time was just a unique sighting of something we couldn't explain in the sky.
Did I guess, let's just stay on the UFO side of this. How long have you guys been at the Meadow?
Oh, we've been looking at it since January of 2016.
Yes. So that's a good chunk of time, 5.5 years, right?
Yeah.
4.5. We're in 2021. Is it 5.5 years? Okay.
Don't make me do math.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about that myself right now. Let's just say it's over 4 years, and then we stay in the safe zone. But that's a good chunk of time. You are able to accumulate a lot of data. You approach this with a very pragmatic mindset, and I like that. And so you're collecting the data. This UFO event, and then here we are in 2021. Is the UFO activity constant?
No, it's sporadic. Now, the last time we were out, which was in February, I did see 2 unexplained lights in the sky that I've reached out to MUFON and some other folks, and we can't really pin it down on exactly what it was. But the UFOs are sporadic, but also it's one of those things that you can't watch for everything or look for everything every single time. You have to kind of focus on what your mission is. If our mission, this weekend is to look for anomalous heat signatures, then you have to kind of focus on that. You can't be watching the sky. Then maybe the next time our focus is on capturing orbs on film. So we're focused on that. So,
and I guess my question would be, over 5.5 years, has there been a consistent type of UFO sighting?
The most spectacular one was the one that happened in 2016 with the giant orb of light. The last one we had were strange flashing lights in the sky, and I think you saw that video last week. We have had lights in the forest. Now if you could call those orbs or UFOs or whatever, they were anomalous lights in the forest. But it's not one of those places that you go out and you sky watch and you see a UFO every time you go out there. It's just so many different types of phenomena. You never know what you're going to get when you go out there.
Why do you think, and we're going to talk about everything else too tonight, but why do you think UFO activity is centered over these specific areas? And I'm asking you because I'm wondering the same thing myself, in that, I can go to Joshua Tree, or I can go to Mount Adams, I can go to Shasta, I can go to these different locations and see things. And then I go home. I've got night vision, right? I've got a lot of it. I don't see anything in my backyard, right? But I go to these locations, and sometimes I'll have 50 sightings in a night, and some of them have been spectacular, crazy things, but I don't have them in my own backyard. So I know that they are interested in these specific geographic locations. What do you think is going on?
There could be a couple of reasons. One could be that there's something special about those geographical locations that makes you more susceptible to seeing them. It could be something, geomagnetic that, changes something in your physiology that makes you more perceptive. That's a guess. I'm just taking a stab there. Or it could be like an airport. If you go to an airport, you're going to see a lot more airplanes than if you go to a rural area and sit on a hilltop somewhere, because you have more airplanes at an airport. So there could be something about these sites that have some sort of significance that maybe we can't even comprehend to these craft, and there's a reason that they are visible or detectable at these specific locations.
The presence of a group of people at these locations, right? You have 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 people that are all there looking to see something. I think there may be something in the consciousness that is connecting to as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. You are familiar with Stephen Greer's CE5 protocol.
That's right.
Now,
yep.
Where you stand on that is really irrelevant. But there does seem to be something about people together with a common focus and a common projection of intent that can cause these things to manifest. And maybe it's not just UFOs or UAPs. Maybe if you've got a bunch of people together that are paranormal investigators and really want to see a ghost, they'll manifest a ghost. Maybe if you have a bunch of people that want to see a vision of the Virgin Mary, that manifests. So are we seeing something external, or are we seeing something internal to ourselves that manifests in a way that appears external? Unfortunately, I don't have the answer.
Yeah. And I have witnessed, and I'm going to get back to what you're doing out there. I believe that I have witnessed a mix of things. I think some things were balls of energy at great altitudes. That may be not as physical as we think. I've seen other things that are definitely 100% metallic, a structure, and I've seen that in daylight. I'm seeing it at night. I've seen saucer-shaped stuff. I've seen triangle-shaped things, all sorts of different colors of lights individually, and it's never really been a consistent thing, except a group of people, right, that seems to be drawing this in. And where do they go? How are they appearing, right? Because it seems like a lot of these craft appear out of nowhere. And is that the same experience out there at the Meadow, where everything seems to be a little bit different?
Yeah, we are we drawing the phenomena to ourselves? Does a phenomenon exist if we're not there? Is it like a tulpa? Are we somehow manifesting, these anomalous events? I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. What we're trying to do in earnest is not only to capture the experiential nature of these events, how they affect people, how do people experience these things? How do they process it, intellectually, psychologically? But we're also trying to capture empirical evidence. We carry tri-field meters out there with us, Geiger counters, various photographic equipment, night vision, thermal. So we're trying to keep a foot on both sides, on the empirical side and on the experiential side. And, we're trying our best to come up with some sort of commonality with these experiences. And about the only thing that we have picked up that even looks like it's a precursor is our radiation. We detect small amounts of radiation with some of these odd events.
How much?
Not much. Not much. Very tiny little bits, in microsieverts per hour. Tiny little bits of radiation, but empirically enough to be, significant. I'll give you an example. The normal background radiation of that area is about 0.06 microsieverts per hour. When we were doing some experimentation with the Estes protocol, or the Estes method, for communication, we started seeing spikes of 0.12 microsieverts per hour. So that's doubling. So that's significant. We have had, when I had a very strange occurrence where I became extremely disoriented, we had about 0.33 microsieverts per hour. And we had some sort of dark object pass by a campsite about a year ago, moving very low and very slow. And we have photographs of the radiation detectors picking up about 0.66 microsieverts per hour. So for some reason, little tiny spikes of radiation seem to be a common occurrence. So we're hoping to explore that more and maybe, come up with some sort of idea that we can predict when these things are going to happen based on fluctuations in natural background radiation.
You mentioned a dark object. You got my attention there. What was it? Not what. What did it look like?
Well, it was dark.
Well,
I know I'm teasing you. I know. Yeah. Deep breath. Okay. Here's what happened with that. That was about a year ago, and it was during the midst of COVID. Okay, it was in June. And our normal campsite that we used was closed. The powers that be decided they didn't want people congregating together, so the semi-official places where people might congregate, they closed so they could unofficially congregate elsewhere. Makes no sense, but nevertheless, there it was. So there was an area that we camp at sometimes, which is about 4 miles from the Meadow. And we had set up camp there and sent a team out, as it be, that we were going to do the CE5 protocol that evening. And we left one member back at base camp to, just kind of take care of our equipment and watch for anything. There was a road through the nature preserve about 25 yards from our base camp. And it was a gravel chert road. Now, the very distinctive sound that a vehicle makes when it travels across one of these roads, that kind of high pitch, crunchy sound, like Rice Krispies as it drives past. Well, this was in the evening with no moon. Absolutely pitch dark. You could not see your hand in front of your face. That's how dark it was. Moonless, dark, still. Our team member back at base camp heard the distinctive sound of a vehicle driving along this road because several had passed by that evening. So he sat there waiting for this vehicle to pass. And all he heard was the sound move past our campsite, move down the road in front of us. He saw no headlights, He saw no motion. All he heard was the sound. Now, the only way a vehicle could drive down this road at that time of night in that kind of darkness is if they had the most advanced military night vision devices, and they were taking a hell of a chance driving down this road in the middle of the night. So he never saw what this thing was. But when it passed, we always run our detection equipment wherever we're in base camp or out in the field. His radiation meter spiked to 0.66 microsieverts per hour.
And if when we talk about 0.66, and I know what the you mentioned, the normal readings that are there, is that something that can be easily explained? Is there some type of radiation that is common in a vehicle that just normally emanates because it's a car?
No, and that's a good question, because remember, it was about 25 yards away from where our team member was.
Right.
So he was a distance away, 75 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real explanation that's normal, quote, air quote, normal, that I can come up with why he would experience a little radiation spike like that.
Now, that's not a dark object. That sounds like the Men in Black. And I don't want to, just go down that road, literally. But that sounds like you guys were being observed, and somebody was out there checking you out. Headlights are off, dark vehicle, military vehicle. They've got equipment in the car emanating radiation, right? They've got some kind of electromagnetic things that are running inside of that car to observe you guys. And that's what that sounds like to me. Now, have you had a Men in Black experience? And would you classify that as Men in Black?
We have had a Woman in Black experience. That vehicle, object, mode of transport, whatever you want to call it, that moved past our campsite. I am leery about placing a label on it. I'm just going to talk about what the experience was and what the empirical data was, i.e. the radiation readings, and let people make up their own minds, what they think that was. I'm perplexed. I don't know exactly what it was. But, as far as having an experience with strange visitors clad in business attire, yes, absolutely. And that incident was the one. I've never really been completely unnerved out there except for that one incident.
And what happened? Yeah, what happened?
Okay, we had a amazing night. We had videotaped and observed portals opening up, people disappearing into portals. You've seen that video. We've seen entities of energy, heat, and just had a crazy evening. Very odd, very strange. And, we can go into the details of that part of the evening in a little bit. But when we were getting ready to wrap up, come back to our camp and do our after-action review, when we arrived back at camp after making that short quarter-mile hike, I was astonished to find a businesswoman waiting for us at camp. Now, this is in the middle of the forest in February.
At night.
At night.
Yeah. What time?
10:30.
10:30.
Okay, so it's in the evening. It's cold. It's dark. We're remote. And there's a doggone friggin' businesswoman waiting for us. Standing there rather resplendent in her loafers, slacks, blouse, and blazer. So this businesswoman comes up and she starts trying to talk to us. She had been bugging our base camp operators. I need to talk to those guys. They need to come out of the field. I need to talk to them. And she started trying to convince us to drop everything we were doing and follow her down a deserted county road. And she said at the end of this road there was a structure, like a barn or a house. And this structure was inhabited by something she called monkey bears. Now, I know what a gummy bear is, but I'll be damned if I know what a monkey bear is. So, I didn't only say no, I said, heck no. I'm not following you down some dark road in the middle of the night, and I don't know who you are. That's just preposterous. I'm not doing it. And she kept on. She was very insistent. She didn't, it was almost like she was trying to divert us, keep us from doing our after action review and, record all the events that we had experienced that evening. So, and she kept on and started trying to engage with me since I was, the leader of the group. And she asked a question. She said, well, where did you go to university?
What?
Oh, well, that's an odd. Yeah.
What?
And I said, so, just wanting to, pacify her and try to get her to go away. I said, well, I went to the University of West Georgia. And she goes, oh, strange, I did too. I'm like, okay, that's weird. She goes, well, what was your degree in? I said, well, I have a degree in psychology and a minor in anthropology. She goes, that's crazy. I have a degree in psychology from there too. And I'm thinking, okay, this woman's just basically parroting what I tell her. She's, just messing with me. So I was going to trick her. I was going to catch her. I said, oh, really? I said, who were some of your professors while you were there? And she actually named professors that I had and I knew personally. So we've got a businesswoman in the remote forest, 10:30 at night in the wintertime, wearing business attire, that went to the same university I did, has the same degree I did, and studied under the same professors I did.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
It gets even weirder.
Oh man.
So this woman is just continuously haranguing us about following her to track down these legendary elusive monkey bears. And during this whole conversation, she stops, looks around, walks out about 25 yards, just in the edge of our lantern light. Remember, this is in the evening. She squats down and urinates in front of us.
Get out.
Yeah, and then pulls her pants back up and walks back over to us and continues like nothing happened.
Yeah, follow me down the deserted road to the Barn of Nightmares.
Yeah, right.
I know. That's from Dan James over in Australia. Yeah, yeah. Me and the boys are going to follow you straight there. That's Crazy Town. I love saying Crazy Town when it's Crazy Town.
That's Crazy Town. It's like toot toot, get on the probe train, because here we go.
Get on the probe train. We gotta take a break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Trey Hudson is here. We're talking about the Meadow. His book is The Meadow Project, Explorations to the South's Skinwalker Ranch. Links are at jimmychurchradio.com. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Trey Hudson is with us. More with Trey in just a second. I want to talk to you about Virtual Shield, Virtual Shield VPN. Everybody needs a VPN these days. Internet security, your browsing history, your location, all of that. You need to make it private. You need to just take control. You have to do it. I've done it. I've got VPN, Virtual Shield, on everything that I use, both studios. And that's the way that we have to do things today. It's the world that we live in. You don't want your sensitive information compromised. None of that. And there is a lot of fraud and hacking that is going on out there. And the only way to make sure that you are secure is Virtual Shield VPN. It's all simple to do. It's encrypted servers. It's a strict no-log policy. It's your location. You need to get your own VPN. Click on the link in the video description box below. It's right there, Virtual Shield VPN. Click on the link, get straight over there, Virtual Shield for 50% off today. Go and do it. You can also type into your browser, probably for the last time, unsecured, virtualshieldvpn.com/fade to black. Take care of business. Get Virtual Shield today. Do it now. Trey, before we get to the Bard of Nightmares, and going back to the crazy evening, I wanted to ask you really quick, as a member of security for the nation, both with the Department of Defense and certainly in your military career, here we are today with UFOs and UAPs right at the center of everything. A House subcommittee today had a private briefing with those that are writing this report. That was breaking news. We had Lou Elizondo yesterday with his statements in the Examiner. We know that this report is imminent, and here we are, where I think for the first time in history we find ourselves at a very, very strange crossroads. With your background, how do you feel about this? Do you think that the military and the Pentagon are about to be forthcoming and honest with what they know about the UAP UFO issue?
That's a good question. One thing I have to be, forthcoming about. In my entire career, I've never dealt with anything UAP related. So, I'm going to put that out there. So I'm not, one of those guys that, dealt with this during his career. However, I am familiar with the way the Department of Defense works, and it's a very pragmatic organization, almost to a fault. So, when this report comes out, I think it's as important to look at what it says as well as what it doesn't say. Okay. I've written reports, for the Department of Defense before, and you're given a very specific mandate. And so what the authors of this report are not going to say is something they can't back up. So just because they say that these devices, these objects, these things, these machines, whatever you want to call them, are not extraterrestrial, they're not necessary, or they can't determine they're extraterrestrial. They're not saying that they're not. So it's important that we read between the lines on these reports. I think that this is a very unique time in our history, not only as a nation, but as a civilization. They're real. They're absolutely real. When the famous Tic Tac Go Fast gimbal videos came out, I was amazed just like everybody else. You have the most advanced airframes with the most advanced surveillance equipment that they can put on that airframe, not only surveillance but targeting equipment, picking up these objects. Not only do you have these advanced airframes and equipment, they're operated and piloted by guys and gals that are oftentimes aerospace engineers, aeronautical engineers, trained observers, that are used to IFF, identification of friend or foe, when it comes to other aircraft, and they don't know what these things are, with thousands of hours of flight time, under their belts. So that was groundbreaking. People that make the statement that the government can't keep a secret, the government can keep a secret. If the government wants to keep a secret, it most definitely can keep a secret, and that's a discussion for a much different time. So I think it's very interesting that either the Department of Defense and the U.S. government has become weary of holding this information back, or maybe the cat got out of the bag and now it's time for disclosure. It accidentally got out of the bag, or maybe they think we're ready. But I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to, all of us that have been believers for years, I think it's going to finally put the existence of UAPs to bed. Now the question is, what are they, where are they from, and what in the heck are they doing?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that I'm talking about the reading between the lines issues. There's no question we're at a very, very exciting point in human history. But what is not going to be in the report, if they don't rule out extraterrestrial, well, that's going to allow the community to say, hey, well, they didn't say that it wasn't, right? So you leave that part because they can't say, or they won't say definitively that part of it. It's going to be very interesting how they word it. And this is the other part for me, Trey. In any other year, this is a worldwide pandemic. And it's not only COVID, but it is, people being locked down in their homes, and the shutting down of the airline industry and the travel industry and the education systems, not only in the United States, but all around the world, and the economies and everything. It wasn't just COVID. It was everything that came along with it. And an election year, right? So throw that in too as well. So UFOs are real, and it didn't have any impact, right? It just didn't, because there was everything else going on, and people are worried about other stuff. And in any other year, this would be the biggest, headline in history, right? Got buried.
I agree. That is disappointing, to me. I actually had a friend of mine who's a retired Army colonel. He's an engineer. Came over to my office, and he said, I'm not here on anything official, but he goes, what's the deal with the UFO stuff? He goes, why are people not screaming from the rooftops? Why is this not, the primary, point of discussion, over every dinner table, at every water cooler, in every office, every deli, every restaurant, in the entire world. And everybody just kind of, shrugs their shoulder and says, oh, well, some prince from England said something naughty, on an Oprah interview. The people are focused on that. So I don't know if we're intellectually lazy, we're distracted, we're overwhelmed, or we don't care.
Right. And could it be that? And I'll tell you why. We're supposed to be talking about the Meadow, but this is such an important subject. They've done a really good job of trickling this out. Done a really good job of that. Exoplanets, science, physics, fast radio bursts, alien life on Mars, right? I mean, just trickling the search for it. And that's the science side. And then you have the mass media side. You have movies and TV and Ancient Aliens for the last 10 years. You have all of this coming out constantly. And it was a pretty effective thing. So when the big moment does arrive, right? I mean, and we're seeing evidence of that. I find that totally fascinating.
Well, right. I mean, we, as a culture, we've been, sitting here holding our collective breath, waiting for Gort to walk out and, pick up Patricia Neal and carry her into the saucer. It's going to be anticlimactic. It's going to be, okay. I kind of thought that anyway. Okay, what's on Home and Garden? Let's watch them flip a house.
Yeah. No doubt, man. I'm going to watch The Day the Earth Stood Still tonight. That's such a great movie. But there's another part. I want to stay on this. 2 weeks ago, to the day, Jan Psaki steps up to the podium in the White House press room, right around the corner from the Oval Office, and fields a question from a reporter about UAPs, right? And her answer, now she had a little smirk at first, right? The reporter goes back at her. Don't blow this off. What about the UAP task force? What is the president doing about it? What is his concern? Are there little green men? Are we being invaded by ET, right? I'm paraphrasing, but hit her with that again. She steps back to the podium, she's got the 3-ring binder, flips to her page, and has a prepared statement about UFOs and UAPs, and reads that out. Very serious. And I'm thinking to myself, I saw it live, by the way, and that was, but as far as I know, that's the first time in the White House press briefing room that this has been discussed. That's the level we are at right now. It's a very, very big deal. And again, right? I would have thought that every media outlet in the world is going to be talking about this. And it was like I was the only one that was impressed. How did we get here that this subject of UFOs, and if we are alone in the universe, is not the biggest thing out there, period? I just don't get it. I don't get it. And the pandemic's over, right? It's over, right? We got to the end of this thing. Let's move on to this very important subject.
I'm like you. I'm baffled why the intellectual curiosity. I mentioned being a child of the 70s. I remember watching the Apollo moon landing. I remember the spirit, the excitement, the worldwide thirst during the space race. We were so curious. Wernher von Braun would, he was a celebrity. He was a rock star back then. And now we have, I'll come out and say it. It looks like definitive proof that we're not alone. And it gets a collective, Yeah. Is it, have we completely disintegrated into the pit of postmodernism that we're just not amazed anymore? Are we so jaded? I hope not.
Well, we have been talking about for years in the UFO community, the drip, drip, drip of disclosure, getting it out a little bit at a time. And in some ways, with the UFO community, we kind of joked about it because we see it going on and we understand the UFO question, and this is our interest in the UFO community. And so, it was just kind of like this running joke about the drip, drip, drip of disclosure. I don't think what any of us expected to play out was that. The drip, drip, drip of disclosure. It's like really happening. The rest of the world, where you're talking to strangers. Okay, so I had to see a doctor yesterday. No big deal. Okay, all right. Just something. And start talking to the doctor about UFOs. And she comes in. I hope she's listening right now. She goes, okay, Jimmy, I got to show you this picture that a friend of mine sent to me, right? And she takes out her cell phone, and it's pretty cool. It's two objects up, and it's one of those, what do you call it? The photographs with an iPhone where you got the little movie at the beginning and the motion, right? So I get to see what's happening here, and I'm watching this little short 3-second movie, and it's like, holy crap, right? And it's a great video that she showed me. But then she just goes, he's a doctor. She goes, of course we're not alone. Of course, that's her reaction, right? She's not freaking out. Her attitude is, well, of course, we can't be all there is. Of course we're not alone. And I don't think she's tripping. I don't. I really don't. And that's how effective all of this has been. It's played out pretty well, Trey, pretty well. All right, let's get to this day of the crazy night where everything went on. Let's back up, and we can run this into the next segment, too, as well.
Sure.
Yeah, this crazy night. So all of this happened before she decided to pee off in the darkness, right?
Right. The mystery urinator. This is before she made her appearance. This was before we ever heard the mention of monkey bears. This was in February of 2017. We had, set up a pretty standardized protocol. When we go out in this area, is we'll set up several teams in the field itself, in the meadow, equipped with night vision and FLIR, thermal recording equipment. And we will take another team and have them move across a ridge, which is adjacent to the field. And the idea is the team on the ridge can see anything below. And if there's anything below the team on the ridge, they'll force it down into the field, and it'll be detectable by the teams down there. So we did that. Myself and two other guys were on the ridge team, and we moved from east to west, and we got to the west end of the ridge, and we looked down, and one of our team members on his FLIR saw an upright heat signature, 6 foot tall, taking a guess, 24 inches wide, the size of a human being. This single solitary heat signature did not correspond with any of our team members. We have a very tight protocol. No team moves from their position unless they're given authorization, and we know where everybody is. We radioed everybody and got their position. Did not correspond with this heat signature. So as we're filming this heat signature, it shrinks down to about 3 foot tall. Then it goes back up to 6 foot, back down to 3 foot, back up to 6 foot, and then it splits into two distinct heat signatures. And then it disappears.
If there was ever a case of high strangeness, right? Right? That's hard to that's hard to repeat with a straight face.
Yeah, it was, and we have it on film, which is really cool. And so we're like, hot damn, we got something really cool. This night can't get any stranger. Well, yeah, it can, and it did. We dropped down into the west end of the meadow and started working our way back east. And while we were on our way east, one of our teams in the middle of the meadow said, we've got something forming in the meadow. We have something that's starting to manifest. And they described it as a cube or a box.
Now, we talked about this. Okay, this is everybody. Pay attention, sit forward, and focus. Okay, this is the box. Go ahead, Trey.
This is the box. Yes, this is the box that everybody is all a Twitter about. This box starts to form. And about the time that my team member hits record on his FLIR, we don't run record all the time because it eats up the battery. So about the time he hits record, it starts to dissipate. This cube, this box starts to fade away. And it was, I'm looking at my notes now, it was about 10 meters by 6 meters by 6 meters. And it was big. It was a huge box. And so we came over to that team and said, tell us about this box. And he explained it to us. And we said, okay, well, let's send a team over there to where this thing was and see if there's, any changes to the environment, any imprints, anything like that. Make sure you're recording this because we want you to record the team as they go over there. So we're recording as the team approaches the area where the residual cube was. And they disappear off of our FLIR. Their heat signature completely disappears. The area that they disappeared is so sparse of vegetation that you can see all the way to the top of the ridge. You cannot hide from FLIR equipment. If you've ever seen any footage from military or police helicopters, you just can't hide from it. These guys completely disappear. And it was so startling that my FLIR operator actually says, did they just disappear? And the way it was described during our debriefing is the team that went in there said that they approached this area and walked right into it, unimpeded. No briars, no brambles, nothing entangling them. And it was very dark, almost like a velvet curtain was around them, pitch black and cold. And they stayed in there a little bit where this cube was, or this box, and turned around and they came out. Now, as they're coming out, you can see on the FLIR footage, they reappear.
This is insane. This is insane. How cool is this? What did they experience while they were in there besides the darkness? Did they feel different?
No, they said they felt the same, except the environment was different. It was cold. It was very dark. And things that you would expect to be there, like vines and brambles and things like that, weren't present.
So they stepped through a portal?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Right.
Or into some sort of augmented or changed reality.
Yeah, another dimension, another parallel world. How crazy is that? Wow.
We have it on film, which, as far as I know, is a first.
A Stargate. Wow, that is incredible. I wonder if... now, how long did they think they were in there? How long did you... how long were they gone on the FLIR?
I'd have to go back and look at the footage. Probably only about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. How long did they think they were in there?
About 2 minutes.
About 2 minutes.
And their timepieces, their watches and all, there was no missing time. That's something we also watch for.
Right.
And when they came back out of it, all of a sudden they're encountering these vines and these sticker bushes and brambles and briars and all of these things that weren't there when they went in. So something changed. It's like the environment went back to what it was prior to the cube.
Did this ever repeat? Did the box ever come back?
Yes.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. I already knew the answer, but the box came back, and when it came back, was it the same size?
No.
I already knew the answer. See, I know the right questions to ask. How big was it, Trey? How big was it the second time?
Oh, it was quite a bit smaller. It was about 3 meters by 3 meters by 3 meters. So quite a bit smaller.
And as you're researching, have you found other examples of boxes like this in other research around the world?
Absolutely.
See, I knew the answer to that question too as well. Can we talk about all of that?
It's like magic.
I'm reading your mind. I have the box here. We're going to take a break. And the thing is, I'm going to discuss the rest of this evening because it didn't stop there, did it? No. What? Is there a chance, and I know it's, I'll keep it confidential, but is there a chance in the future I can come out with you guys and hang out at the Meadow for a day and a night?
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to ask you one last quick question before we hit the break. You're out there with a bunch of equipment. Is when you're out there measuring EM, or you have your different multimeters and not only that, but the FLIR and the night vision and things. If you go to an adjacent area out there, is everything calmed down? Is it just concentrated in this area of the Meadow?
Yeah, it seems to be, kind of concentrated there, but there are other things in this region, this general area where we've experienced some strange stuff. Like I said, the dark object that moved past our base camp was about 4 miles away. So yeah, it's just a weird region. It's very creepy, has a very dark history, going all the way back to First Nations. So it's and it could be that goes on everywhere in that area, and the only reason that we have focused on the Meadow or finding it in the Meadow is that's where we're focused.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, Trey Hudson. The book is The Meadow Project, Exploration into the South's Skinwalker Ranch. Links are over at Jimmy Church Radio. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. So I'm over in the YouTube chat during the break, and we are arguing about pizzas. What everybody craves. I don't understand, Trey. I don't understand this broad negativity over Hawaiian pizza. I don't get it. I don't get it. Are you cool with it?
No, it's a sulfurous turd shot from the very ass of Satan himself.
And do you know it's not Hawaiian? Are you ready?
I would hope not.
It's Canadian. The Canadians invented that. So there you go.
They gave us Celine Dion too. I mean,
Yes,
what can you say?
But we did get Wayne Gretzky. We stole him from Canada.
Well,
right?
there you go.
They still haven't forgiven us. So they gave us Hawaiian pizza in revolt. So there you go. That was a Trudeau thing. So back to this crazy night. And I was looking over in Twitter, and Bill, one of our administrators over there, does a great job. But he goes, "The Pea Lady is a show in itself." And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a show in itself for sure. Okay, so back to the cube, which is extraordinary, and it's okay. So what happened next after the cube?
Well, as we're filming this cube, one of our FLIR operators, who's adjacent to the primary operator, she looks to her right, and she sees two figures in a small copse of trees, a small group of trees, maybe 40 yards, 50 yards away from us. And she says, "Who or what is that?" And we get on the radio and ask for identification and location of all the team members.
Right.
It was the same heat signature that we had seen earlier. That was the single heat signature that turned into two.
Right.
Right. And then they faded away. Those two heat signatures faded away. So what we have is heat signatures that appear to be, for the lack of a better term, entities, something putting off heat. We have a cube or box forming that defies explanation in the fact that when people go into the area where this thing was, they disappear. Their heat signatures disappear. And then they reappear when they come back out. And then we had these two more heat signatures that appear to be watching us from a bit of a distance. So, that was going on. And at that time, we had to make a decision to continue to research or to go back to our camp and try to recount as much as we can on a videotaped after action review or debrief for posterity. And something we also wanted to do is, since there's a history of electronic equipment going haywire in these areas, we wanted to take the SD cards out of the FLIR equipment with this footage on it and get it as far away from that location as possible. And we actually took the SD cards out, put them in a foil pouch, gave them one of our team members. He got on his motorcycle and drove several hours back to his home and locked them up in a safe that night.
Now, it's one thing to have somebody at a conference or come on this show or tell a story around a campfire, right? That's one thing. It's just a story. It's fun. It's great. You are backing up all of the data. You've got the video. You're shooting your meters, and you're locking down everything as it goes down. So, and I was watching your presentation and your video evidence, and I looked at a lot of your photographs and things that you have documented. That part of it backs up the testimony. A lot like the Tic Tac, right? The Tic Tac video is worthless. It's worthless. I don't see anything in that. It's the testimony that supports that video, right?
Right. Absolutely. And that's one thing I'm very proud to say is not only do we have a multitude and extremeness of experiences, we have a high quality of the experiencers. We have people with advanced degrees. We have people in professions that are used to dealing with crisis, that are used to making split-second decisions that are life and death. And I have a stack of affidavits. I have video interviews with these people. So it's that magical concoction of empirical data, readings, footage, photographs, along with testimony and the experiential nature of it. So it really makes a good combination that I think, in my opinion, lends, a lot of credence to what we're experiencing. And the cool thing is it allows us to share it with other people. And hopefully they find it as interesting and as enigmatic as we do.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with this cube. And at the conference, after you and I were talking about the cubes, and the whole panel actually started talking about cubes too as well. I had people coming up to me in the conference saying that they had heard these same references and they had their own same experiences. And like I said, it didn't stop at the big cube. There was this other smaller, well, it's not, a meter square is not a small cube. It's just smaller than the first one. Tell us about that, the second cube incident.
Right, that was in April of 2018. We had decided to hike to a similar meadow that was about 7 miles away. And what we were trying to do is to see if this was a localized phenomena or if it happened somewhere else. So while we were hiked out to this area, we had another group of teams that stayed back at our primary base camp. And while one team was off exploring this other meadow, 2 members of the team that stayed back at base camp decided to hike out to the meadow and see what was going on themselves, see if anything was happening. And when they got out there, they found something really amazing. They found a set of tracks. And I want you and your listeners to imagine a set of tire tracks in a field of grass about 12 or 18 inches tall. So you have 2 parallel, ruts, if you will. But what makes it interesting is it's almost as though something was dropped into the field, traveled a distance, and was lifted out. There was a distinct beginning and a distinct end, and no way to get to that end or beginning from anywhere else. The grass in these 2 tracks, which were probably 3-4 feet wide, was compressed. It wasn't crushed. It was laid over, bent over, not broken. Also in the 2 tracks, if you will, there were anthills and molehills that were not compressed. There were small saplings, little tiny trees that were not bent over or compressed. And there were no tread marks. There were no tire imprints. So you start putting all that together, what do we have that's, been reported where grass has been laid over in an area where you've recorded anomalous radiation with no disturbance of the ground features underneath?
Crop circles.
Exactly, except these were linear. These weren't circular. So The team came back, reported this. 2 more team members went back out to the meadow, and this time they were equipped with a full spectrum camera that records some light in the ultraviolet and the infrared. And they noticed that when they stood in this track and pointed their camera down the track, they saw another cube that was visible only through their full spectrum camera. And the cube was about 3 meters by 3 meters by 3 meters, 9 feet, 9 feet by 9 feet. And when they would step out of the track and they would look through their viewfinder, it was gone. It was only visible when they were standing in the track line. So they decided they were going to take some photographs of this, brought the camera up to their face, hit the shutter button, and promptly got an error message that they had forgotten to put the SD card in the camera. So, it's one of those things where even seasoned researchers make mistakes. It happens. And unfortunately, when they got the card, came back, they were not able to replicate that. But I do have the affidavits from both of these guys. One is an electronics engineer, very smart, educated guy. Another fellow is a cryptid researcher from the Carolinas that's been doing this stuff for years. So both very down-to-earth, reliable, trustworthy witnesses on this. So it was another cube, in another part of the meadow. What's weird about that is where this cube was, it was the same location that upon review of some photographs that we had taken the earlier year, it's the same area where it appeared that some sort of cryptid was watching us from the edge of the wood line. It was the same general location. So what do the boxes have to do with cryptids? I have no idea, but it's just a very interesting coincidence that's happening right there, where this cube was and where this track line was pointing almost like an arrow to this strange cube that was only visible on the full spectrum camera.
And only between the tracks.
Yes, only between the tracks.
Wow. Fascinating. And now I want to talk about Bigfoot. And you just mentioned there, I think that there's, obviously we haven't quite figured out Bigfoot yet, but if I'm going to lean in I've got mine right here. That's pretty cool. Trey's also wearing a Fender t-shirt. He just sat up and showed me his Fender t-shirt. That's pretty cool. Is that if I'm going to lean in a direction as crazy as it is, I'm thinking that Bigfoot may be interdimensional. And I know that we talked about this last week. But there are those out there, like yourself, I believe that you think that Bigfoot is biological, like real, right?
I don't know. And I'll
well,
tell
let
you
me.
why
Okay. Well, hold that note. But the point is that these cubes and something cryptid showing up after, could these cubes be a portal where entities, Bigfoot, cryptids, are coming and going from, and therefore the lack of evidence of them being there physically is dissipated and gone because they are using that as a door, as a portal, right? Is that a possibility?
Sure, it's a possibility. That the thing about all of this is we don't know. We don't have any concrete answers. So one theory is just as valid as any other theory. But it is interesting to note you talked about the absence of bodies, absence of bones. We have fossil evidence of Gigantopithecus, the giant prehistoric ape. We don't have any bones or remains of North American Sasquatch or Southeastern Sasquatch. So what's happening? I have seen videos from a research organization in the Carolinas where they filmed on their FLIR a hominid running through the forest, and it's fading in and out almost like the Predator, and it gets to a tree, and as it goes behind the tree, it never comes to the other side. It disappears.
That would be a hominoid.
Yeah.
That would be a hominoid. Yes. I hear hominid in these discussions like yourself. I say it too. And I have to back up and say, no, I think that's evidence of a hominoid. So, yeah, I'm rewriting. I just invented my own word. But Sasquatch is not just a northwestern phenomenon, right? In Northern California and Oregon and Washington. Been seen all around the world for sure. There's evidence of that. But here in the United States, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, is seen in every state.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that Sasquatch is, not completely devoid of paranormal happenings and not completely devoid of UFO phenomena. There seems to be all of this is tied in, and some of the better known Sasquatch researchers are actually thankfully starting to come out and admit that while they've been out researching, they've had paranormal experiences. They've experienced orbs. They've experienced strange lights in the forest. They have experienced things that they can't describe and can't articulate in a way that could be explained by a large, hairy monkey creature running through the woods. It has to be something else. There has to be another dimension to this phenomena.
And what about Bigfoot and the Meadow?
Well, this area is, well known for Sasquatch, Bigfoot type creatures. We've had the one photograph I told you about. We have another photograph on FLIR of a large hulking figure, broad shoulders, no neck, standing, in the wood line, colder than its surroundings, which seems counterintuitive. Can't explain it, but it was a large Sasquatch-looking figure. We have had.
Was that the image? Was that the image that you showed me?
Yes, sir.
That's a tough one to just write off as a debunker. That is clearly a large hominid, upright figure standing in the tree line. I mean, it's just very, very visible. It's a very interesting photograph.
Yeah. It's and we've had that, and we've also had our team members observe some sort of hominid watching us in the middle of the night. At 2:00 in the morning, he reported seeing a white human-shaped figure, head, shoulders, arms, watching our camp, which is interesting because if you go back and look at the history of this area, there are reports of a white Sasquatch-type creature in this area. And these reports go back years and years and years. So, yes, we've definitely, experienced Sasquatch. You can put that into another category of strange experiences out there at the Meadow.
Is there anything that you can measure that's going on underground? Is there granite? Is there quartz? Is there water? Is there something else that's measurable there that could be attracting all of this?
Could be. This area is well known for caves and mines. It's just littered with caves and mines. Quartz is not out of the ordinary. I was talking to James Keenan at the conference, and we were talking about geomagnetic abnormalities. Strangely enough, this area does not have a geomagnetic abnormality. So that's a little bit of an outlier in some of these strange areas. But, I do want to get James out there, with some of his experience and equipment and see if there's any subterranean anomalies going on that perhaps we could pinpoint.
Now, what about the indigenous folklore and stories over the years? Have they also talked about this being a strange area?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This area is rich in history, not only pioneer history, but even back before that. And the indigenous people have stories of witches. One particular witch that comes to mind is one called Spearfinger. And she would lure children and other people and eat their livers. And she could mesmerize people. Now, this is in the America Southland, but you look at it maybe from the lens of what a skinwalker is. There are certain similarities there. There's also folklore of Sasquatch, large hairy men that lived in the forest that would eat people. So, there's a lot of data on this area that goes back, before written history.
Now, are there, when we talk about portals and vortexes in specific areas, do you detect that? Do you feel it in your person where you can walk into an area and go, okay, right here underneath my feet, something strange is happening?
No, I can't. I'm not that intuitive. I mean, and nobody on my team has ever been able to say, okay, I feel like this area, something's weird about it. This might be a portal. The only way we've been able to detect these things is, with our equipment.
Now, I think, have you guys reported any beings or entities or anything coming in and out of a portal? When you say portal, we are talking about something very specific.
Right. No. The only thing that we've ever actually seen coming in or out of a portal or vortex are our team members. But, like if that's not strange enough.
Right.
Yeah, so I say that so matter-of-factly. But if you use Occam's razor, okay, we have these portals that our team members went in and out of, and that same night, we also had those entities watching us and observing us. So, QED, did they come from the portal? Perhaps.
Have you guys used metal detectors?
No, we have not.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what else could be in that field, in that meadow. We have, we have a couple of wars that happened in the United States in that general area, and there could be something residual that has been left over, right? And that can't be out of the question too, as well.
Sure, absolutely, and that's a good point because, the entities that we saw. If I was, looking through the optics of a paranormal investigator, I'd say, well, those are a ghost. Or if I was looking at it through the optics of a ufologist, I'd say, well, those are ET.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I was a, metaphysicist, I would look at it and say, well, those are, energy guides or, my
spirit guides, yes.
Spirit guides. So, these are just words. These are labels, and maybe they're all labels for the same phenomena.
Ultimately, I have the same general question, which is what the F is going on, right? I mean, what do you think is the reason for all of this? The question is why. What do you think is going on?
I wish I had the answer. I have theories. It could be a multiverse type of thing where you have universes existing almost parallel, and where the universes become so close together, a singularity is created and things can move in and out of this. Or maybe a natural singularity happens and some other race of beings are able to stabilize it and use it for whatever their purposes are. It could be, extraterrestrial. That's another option. The bottom line is we don't know. And there's an analogy I like to use about some ants in a forest. And imagine some ants live in a forest, going about their little ant business, and the Parks and Recreation Department decide to build a road through the forest. So the ants are going about their business. They come upon this road, and they stand there and they're trying to communicate with this road, this asphalt. And it doesn't communicate back. They have no idea of what they're looking at. They can't even comprehend it. And maybe we're the ants in the forest and we stumbled across a ribbon of blacktop and we're slinging pheromones at it, trying to communicate with it. And we don't have the slightest idea of what's going on. And we're just trying to, to put this situation into our framework of understanding of our world around us. And we might not even be close.
Yeah, one of the things, Trey, that I have talked about on this program over the years, and it sounds like I'm always repeating myself, but it's very, very important, which is in the world of physics and in the hard sciences right now, the research is showing us evidence of, the multiverse, parallel worlds, entanglement, multiple dimensions. And these things are constantly presented to us without any evidence, right? This is numbers that are showing us and pointing us in that equations. And I've talked about it a lot. And then in Avi Loeb's new book, the physicist from Harvard, Extraterrestrial, that he released about 6 months ago, he has a chapter in the book on this exact subject where he says, my peers are saying, it's multiverse, the multiple dimensions, parallel worlds, entanglement, and they want me to go along with that. But yet, when we talk about other things, all of the supernatural and paranormal and ET visiting Earth, they don't want to discuss that, but we are talking about the same things. Right? And right. And it's a really great point by Avi, one that backs up what I've been trying to say for years. And it's exactly what you're talking about here. Right? Science is saying that is all a possibility.
Well, as the great Bard, put, is there's more to heaven and earth than in your books, Horatio. How horrible to put yourself in an intellectual box. But yet, it's done every day.
So what's next for you? What's next? I know you've got a lot of work to do out there, but what's next? Are you guys heading out there like this weekend?
No, not this weekend. We are trying to clear our schedules to get out there next month.
Okay.
So we are going to try to get an expedition out here soon. We try to get out there as often as we can. And what's next is we will continue researching this amazing location as long as we're able to. As long as we can keep the location reasonably secure, and we can investigate and research unhampered and unencumbered, we will continue to try to figure out the answer to this amazing place and these somewhat amazing questions.
Man, I got to get out there and see the cube. I got to get out there and hang out with Trey Hudson. I got to meet a couple of your team members last week, and I got to, man, so enthusiastic, man. Church, you don't even know, right? And I just have to get out there. I want to experience it for myself. Thank you so much, Trey. Your work speaks for itself. The book is amazing, The Meadow Project, and the links for that are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I'm excited to your next appearance here on Fade to Black. I know that there's going to be more stuff coming out, and let's go do this, man. Let's find some answers. Thank you so much, Trey.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
You're the best, Trey. Thank you so much, man. Now go. I need some cube. I need some cube in my life. Go play your guitar. Trey Hudson, what a great conversation. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll open up the phones when I come back, and I want to hear what all of you think about the Meadow. 747-228-2051. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee.
Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Thank you, Trey Hudson. The Meadow. Man, that sounds like such a fun place. Such a fun place. I love going to locations like that. And I didn't even get into ferries. I wanted to do the ferry conversation. We didn't talk about the orbs that they are seeing out there, which is also another incredible thing. Too much going on out there. Way too much to try to get into one show tonight. But I can't wait to have Trey back. It's an amazing place. Things are going down out there. I've opened up the phone lines. 747-228-2051. I'm putting this call on hold, so you're going to get some hold music, and that's going on there. Yeah, it is very, very, very interesting. I watched the video evidence and things throughout his presentation, and that's the part that I wanted to emphasize tonight with Trey. It's one thing to share the stories, and those are great, no question about it. But when you line everything up with everything that they are documenting every step of the way, it's just supports everything back and forth. It's these are incredible events, but he's got this stuff on videotape and the FLIR images. It's amazing to see. So that's the Meadow, and the book is The Meadow Project. And the links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. I was talking to a couple of his team members that were there, and the excitement, but their own personal experiences that they have gone through, and which is great. But they also told me that over and over again, that everything is so methodical. The teams, the locations, what Trey was saying tonight, where they would find something on FLIR or they would see something in night vision, and the first thing they do is is go back and confirm that everybody is at their locations, that they're not filming themselves. And I was talking to the team members about that, and they were saying, man, that's exactly how it goes down. Everybody is in their position. And it was great. It was great to hear from the team members directly. So something is going on out there. The location, again, it's not that he wants to keep it to himself, but they have invested years of research out there, and they want that to continue. And, having 50 people show up in RVs wanting to see orbs and go out there with their lawn chairs and with their night vision cameras all night, that will really hamper what they're trying to do out there. So for now, he wants and needs to keep the location private for now. And I know it's on public land. It's a nature reserve. So there's that part of it too as well. Wow. It's really, really cool. Okay. 747-228-2051. Who's on hold longer here? Let's go here. 747-228-2051. And let's see who is up first. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Good evening, Jimmy. It's Mike from Montana.
Hi, Mike from Montana. How are you, man?
Pretty good. I was just curious what happened to the woman. That part of the story just kind of faded out there.
Yeah, it did. It faded to black. There was, and as you noticed, that was an evening of some pretty incredible. I wanted to get all of the paranormal in, but you're right. What happened to the woman? That's the first time I heard that part of the story, that part of the evening, and that caught me by surprise too as well. Yeah. Maybe she got in her black sedan and drove away. Her Men in Black sedan. Yeah, isn't that crazy? She's in business.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Yeah. No, that was a lot strange. And when you come off of an evening like that with everything that's going down, right? The cube and everything that is happening, and then that occurs, that's pretty strange. What do you think? I know I tweeted this out, but I had to. Monkey bears. What does that even mean?
I have no idea. It's just as strange as the woman showing up in the middle of the night out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, for real.
I've seen the satellite images from far away and some that were closer, and it's remote, man. It's remote. So for somebody to find them and go through that and know that they were there is pretty crazy. It just makes your mind wander, doesn't it? I mean, what the heck is going on with that? It doesn't make any sense. Really. And then all of a sudden she's just got to pee in front of everybody. Yeah. Right?
That's strange.
Yeah, it is.
Well, look, if you find out what happened with her, could you do an update on that?
I sure will. I'll get a hold of Trey, and I'll have that for you tomorrow on the show for sure. Thank you so much, Mike.
I appreciate it, Jimmy. Thanks.
Enjoy your night. That's a great phone call. Yeah, what happened to the pea lady? What? Is that what we're going to do now? Is she going to be known as the pea lady? Before I get back to the phone calls, I got to say, Trey's really cool. And when you look at him, he means business. Yeah. And it's not, the security aspect. I'm just saying this is a guy that's on a mission. He's got his thing and he is going to get it done. He's going to be very serious about it. That's that part of Trey, but he's also really funny. And when he said tonight, toot toot, the probe train. I'm stealing that. I'm so stealing that. I'm going to do toot toot. The probe train t-shirts. That is amazing. Before I get back to the phone calls, I was gifted a lot of stuff from the Fadernauts when I was in Laughlin. And tomorrow night on the show, I've got everything stacked up over here, and I'm going to go through that with everybody and show you what I was gifted. But some of it was just absolutely not only cool, but there's an emotional attachment to all of this stuff where, if you're gifted something from somebody, it means a lot to them. And then you check it out and wow, right? And Rodney, I hope that you're listening right now. I cannot wait to show everybody what you gifted me. It's really cool. It's right over there too as well. So I can't say anything else. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Steve, Slightly Slanted Sleuth again. How you doing?
Hey, man, how are you doing? How's
pretty good.
How was YouTube tonight?
Pretty cool. I mean, as usual, depends on what you pay attention to, right?
It goes by so fast. I'm over there now, and man, about that woman. She
Right.
drove away, and Trey ended up chasing her. Later, but left that, didn't want to push that out into the public, something like that. And that's from Blair. Okay, Blair says, and this is going back to Mike in Montana. Blair says about the woman, she drove away, and Trey ended up chasing her up later, but left at that, didn't want to push it out into the public. And then she followed that up with something like that. Thank you for that, Blair. If you've got more, Blair, post it. That's what's great about YouTube and Twitter too as well. But very smart audience, and I love it as everybody can contribute their little slice to the pie. But yeah, what a crazy night! What a crazy night! What a crazy night! What did you think? What do you think of the Meadow?
Well, it's an anomaly, that's for sure. I think that those places are all over our planet, and the ancients used to use like Stonehenge and certain like Angkor Wat and places like that as nexus points or nodal points for spiritual purposes or for our ties to the cosmos, if you will.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Steve. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take all of this.
I got one question though, Jimmy.
Sure.
Did you look at that video?
What's that?
That Sunrunner offshoot video that I mentioned yesterday.
The what video?
Sunrunner offshoot.
No, I did not. Did you send it to me?
No, it's on my YouTube channel, Slightly Slanted Sleuth, but I mean, it's only 45 seconds, and it's the only video on YouTube that's called that, Sunrunner Offshoot.
Okay, send me the link. That's much easier. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Will do.
Thank you,
Thank
Steve.
you, bud. Good show tonight.
Yeah, it was a great show. Thank you, Steve. Behave out there in the YouTube world. I agree. You want to bring up Stonehenge or Göbekli Tepe, or you can even bring up Giza or Machu Picchu. You can bring up Angkor Wat, of course. There are locations around this planet that meant a lot to not only those civilizations then, but they mean something today. When you go to these special places, things happen. Things just happen. I can't explain them away. Now, I've not only seen things in the sky that I can't explain. Of course, there's that part, but there's things that are going on the ground. And at the conference, I keep going back to UFO MegaCon, but that's because it was great, number one. But number two, it just happened. But I went back and I told the story once again about the orb that I saw. I've always looked at orbs as dust, bugs. You see the photographs, you see the images, and I've really haven't seen anything that was totally compelling and convincing. It could be anything, a lens flare with cameras, and I started to see something that was pretty interesting where I would go out with my cell phone and move it around, and red, blue, and green orbs would form around a lit object, right? So lit objects over here, I'm shooting over here, but if there's, it's not in frame, but that, these orbs would be there. There's something in the pickup, the sensor in these digital cameras that photograph this. So you can turn around and you can move it around, and the orb looks like it's moved, but it's following the camera, right? It's not physically locked in a spot out in front of me. I can see it in the camera. If I move my camera, the orb isn't staying over here. It's moving with the camera. But if you take a still photograph of that, that's pretty convincing, right? And I saw that myself. And now I see orbs that are photographed, and I see them online. Right? That's where I'm at with it. But then I saw it with my eyes. You see an orb with your eyes, and now it's a whole different thing. And the one that I saw, for those of you that are listening and have heard this before, okay, I apologize. But for those that haven't heard this before, this is what happened. Let me grab, here's a penny. This is a good way to describe it. So, open field, meadow, in front of us with a tree line in the back. And the tree line is probably a quarter mile away. It's a good distance, not 100 yards, quarter mile. And behind the trees, this first row of trees, and that were really tall, I saw something. And so it kind of caught my eye. It's at night. It's about 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. It's dark. A lot of people out there with us. But I'm looking across, and I saw something behind the trees. And then this thing, it was tiny at first, came out from behind the tree and then grew. Remember, this is about a quarter of a mile away. And came down. Right? And it's ground level. But it was flat. It was round from the front, but I could see that it wasn't a sphere. You could see that. It was two-dimensional. And it's now sitting down in front of me in the field, and I rubbed my eyes. I literally went, man, I'm getting tired. Something's floating in my eyes. Kind of do this, and I look, and it's still there. And this lady, and it's gray. That's the thing. It wasn't silver. It was flat gray. It wasn't shiny. It was gray. This lady standing right here with her husband and her daughter, but she's right here. And she says over my shoulder, is anybody looking at that gray orb out there? And I turn around and I said, do you mean this bleep is real? And I turn around, and then somebody to my left in the dark, I don't know who it was, but they're murmuring, look at that gray orb out there. And it just faded away. And it lasted for about 15 seconds. That's my guess. About 15 seconds. Good chunk of time. But then it was gone. And now I'm talking about this. Everybody else had seen it. It was physical. It was real. This wasn't, through my phone or through some electronic device or a video camera. It wasn't that. I was just sitting in a chair. And so the next day, I went out. Now, I want to debunk this because I thought that it was too cool. It was too perfect. it was right there, and it was physical, and it was real, and it was this orb. So I get on a motorcycle, and I ride to the back of this property, and I stop, and I get off the motorcycle, and I'm looking around. I was looking for, and I'm being serious too, because I was not happy about this, because it was real. It was real. It really happened. I really saw it. So I was looking for like maybe a thin piece of plastic. Was it projected? Was somebody playing a trick? I looked for any evidence of that. I didn't find anything. I also looked on the ground. I took a serious look back there for an extension cable. Was somebody back there that night with a projector and they're plugging stuff in? Was that going on? Nothing. And the other part from that was fascinating to me was once I got back there and I was able to take a look, was where I saw where I felt I could see basically the outline. It's dark, but I could see the outline of this meadow, this field. And when I got back there, the tree line wasn't as close to the fence line as I thought. The tree line was actually back about 10 or 20 yards. It wasn't where I thought it was, like right on top of each other. So where I felt where this thing came down in the field, I parked the motorcycle, trees are over here. Where I saw it come down in the field was actually way over here. So, and now I'm like, well, you couldn't have put a movie screen or something over there that's wide out in the open. And I was starting to get a little tripped out, a little confused, because I thought I was just debunking something. And it turned out so I got back on the motorcycle and drove away. And all I can tell you now is what I saw was real. It was there. And I couldn't find any evidence of anything. We did, this was probably 4 years ago, Contact in the Desert. And I don't know if it was 2016 or 2017, but one night we did a Close Encounters of the Third Kind presentation with the music and did that whole thing. But Contact in the Desert did this thing out in the middle of the desert, probably quarter mile out into the open desert behind the stage. They had a screen. And out there, they projected onto this screen one of Steven Spielberg's flying saucers from the movie. And I'm here to tell you, I didn't take any pictures, and I should have, and I thought about that night. And the reason why I didn't take any pictures is if I would have posted those on the net, then they would have proliferated, and somebody would have said it was real. And next thing you know, we've got this hoax going on. But there was 2,000 people that night with us. And I'm out there, and we're all seeing the same thing. And I'm telling you right now, that was real. It was a real projection on a screen. But from where we sat in the night out there in the desert, that projection, that was the most amazing thing to see. If you're going to see a real flying saucer on the desert floor in the middle of the night, that was it. And we all saw it. And so when this orb, and I knew what was going on. I saw them set up earlier in the day, and I knew that they were going to do this flying saucer landing and this thing out there, and it was really, really cool. But I'm telling you, that was spot on. That would have fooled anybody. If you didn't know this was the Close Encounters presentation, and you had somebody out there in the desert doing that, it would have messed with your head. And I remembered that. That's why I went out to see if somebody was projecting this orb, because the whole flat part of it, the two-dimensional thing, I was thinking it was a projection. How it came out from behind the trees, I don't know. Unless it was just a real orb. Okay, so that's that story. I've got people on hold for quite a while. Let's get back to the calls. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hi, this is Gage.
This is who?
Gage.
Hey, Gage. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I just got a couple of minutes left before the end of the show. Sorry you were on hold for so long. What's on your mind? Why are you calling?
I really wanted to hear your opinion, and this is sort of a touchy subject, I know, but what do you think of Stephen Greer, what he's doing?
Well, it's another piece to the puzzle. What some of the things that he is suggesting right now, I think, is a pretty big risk. Just like anything else, he needs to have this play out. You know, this whole, fake alien invasion, and that this is backwards engineered tech, and all of that is possible. But he's calling people out right now and saying definitively that this is what is going on. So hopefully for Stephen, it's going to play out that way, and he's going to play the part of the hero. But if it doesn't go his way, it's going to be pretty tough on somebody's reputation. So I don't know. I really don't know.
It is. It does seem like he switches his point of view quite a bit. So I was just curious on what your thoughts on it was.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one scratching their heads, right? You know what I mean? That are wondering about this.
The disclosure event that he put together was great.
Yep.
I mean,
no question about it.
Ever since then, it just seems like it's been more and more out there on what he's saying. So.
Well, this last couple of months, he's been very, very loud and very vocal. And you need to, if you're going to be doing this and saying this as definitive fact, which is what he is doing, it's got to play out that way, because if it does. But this is the other thing when it comes to Stephen, and I respect this and I appreciate this. He has got a lot of fans in his camp. Right?
Oh, so absolutely.
Right. So let's say there is no fake alien invasion, that it's not backwards alien tech, and there's no issues with Lou Elizondo or Chris Mellon or everything else. Let's say none of that plays out the way that Stephen has presented it. He's still got millions of people that listen to him that are not going to, A, care, or B,
including celebrities.
Yeah, and that's right. And it's not going to change their opinion about him. And so that's it. It's just another piece to the puzzle. I think we should listen to Stephen just like we listen to everybody. So, and that's my take.
And Unacknowledged was a fantastic film.
It was a great film. I was there for the premiere. I was right there.
Really?
Yeah, I was there for the premiere. Yep, I was there and did the red carpet. I interviewed Stephen, right? And it was really funny. I think he was going to interview me. I ended up taking the mic from him on camera. I was up there for a while, and he's wearing his Fade to Black hat. It was pretty funny. But there you go,
now,
Gage.
Is he a nice guy? I mean, I've heard mixed stories about him.
You know what? He believes what he believes, and he's pretty strong in person. I think he's a good guy, though. I really do. I really do. Thank you so much, Gage. I got to roll credits and get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All righty. Nice talking to you. Have a nice night.
Yeah, you too. That's a great phone call right there. And I got to get out of here. I got to get straight to credits. And thank you to Trey Hudson. Another great night on the show. Another great conversation. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Fader night. And I believe, and I'll find out tomorrow, but we should have somebody join us for the first segment tomorrow night to speak directly to all of you. It's going to be really cool if there's a lot more going on than you know. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Fader night. We made it. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Until then, be safe. It's time to fade to black.